As if dating wasn't already difficult enough, here we have this recent epidemic, I would have to say, on most dating sites, specifically with Tinder, though. Fake profiles, scam, bots, phishing, fake profiles. When I say fake profiles, what do I mean? I'm talking about this dumb shit right here, and not dumb shit as in a person specifically, because I'm still not sure if these girls even know if they have their pictures being used. This girl that was on the Tinder safe date age verification scam, it's very well known, it's all over the internet. Well, I swiped on this girl, and I didn't mean to, because normally I don't swipe on girls like this. I don't date feminists.
Get triggered.
This brand is monster. Is he gonna check his privilege? That's not going to happen. Listen. Listen. Nobody here wants to hear your opinion. Here's what's so crazy. You're not fighting for rights. You're fighting for the right to be a pussy and have your opinion that you don't like. Is he gonna check his privilege? Is he gonna check his privilege? That's not going to happen.
It's Jigglypuff.
I don't date girls with the whole glasses, I'm so smart, look at me, it's all about me kind of thing. She looks kind of, I don't know, like she might be a handful to deal with anyway, but I don't have to worry about that because, why? It's fake profile. As soon as I swiped on this girl, I get an instant hello, and that is just unheard of. Unless the girl would just happen to be sitting there and I was her only match, was also very unlikely. So right out the gate, we know something's wrong. So what happens? Well, kind of like Cleverbot, if you guys have ever heard of this chat program. Where you can have somewhat of a interactive conversation with an AI program. This is not an actual human being. This is a chat algorithm that contains millions of lines of codes and English language or language in general to know how to interactively respond to a question. It's an excellent program, but the same thing is now being used for this Tinder safe dating, TinderAgeVerify.com, or if you go to a mobile site, it's ageverify.org. Another thing I notice with these girls is that the distance away and where they're from and how old doesn't typically match up. They also, out of all the interest I have on my Facebook, I only match with USA Today. That's very unlikely because I have a lot of interests. This obviously fake, but hey, it's worth a shot, right? Again, San Jose University, student 12 miles away. Nothing of interest is 12 miles away from me. USA Today, 12 miles away. Washington District of Columbia. I don't know where all of these students just happen to be 12 miles away from my location that I'm swiping in. I find that also very unlikely because there's nothing near me 12 miles away. This girl right here, this is, I don't know if this is a catfish or not, but I found it interesting that maybe she just likes USA Today too because this person's not 22. This girl, normal looking picture, again, blank profile, nothing, it's always a blank profile, USA Today, and well, this one didn't have a college listed, this one did, New York University. So you can kind of see there's a bit of a commonality here. This one didn't have USA Today, but she's from Clinton Community College, blank profile. All these girls, blank profiles. Most of these bots that I get that try to send me to this site here all have blank profiles, all have some sort of major university listed, and all like USA Today. Another interesting thing that I found on this page is that the site itself seems to not have any programming to it whatsoever. And what I mean by that is when I was inspecting the HTML code, there was a JavaScript that all it's programmed to do is when you actually click on the view cell number is just to tell you have to be verified to view cell numbers. It's not actually verifying if you have an account or not. It's literally an element in the page that is programmed to put this pop-up there in your face to try to trick you into thinking it's legitimate, but it is totally not. And now oh, there it is, the form's back. So let me inspect these elements again. Nope. Interesting. I think they changed their code recently. I was going to try to show you how there was a JavaScript element here, but it's not there anymore. So, moving along. Another thing I find with this site is that it is nowhere in the United States. And this is where this led me to some interesting discoveries, not for the fact that it's in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, or that it's OVH hosting. It's the fact that their DNS that they use is completely anonymous, as well as their domain registration, which is also completely anonymous. And let me quickly explain. Each website has to be registered with what's called a registrar, and it gives you domain information. In this case, Tinder Age Verify, the registrar, or who is hosting the DNS for the website, is NameSilo LLC. These guys, domain, cheaps, easy, secure. There's no hidden fees. It's you keep 100% of the earnings. Seems really simple and private. And what I noticed is that who is ever doing this has gone to great lengths to hide who they are. Normally, you would get a email contact, but in this case, they've hired privacyguardian.org. And I apologize for the noise, but my clothes are drying, so let me pause this video and I'll come. Yeah, pretty shocking, girls, right? A guy is doing his own laundry. I know, it's amazing. All right, so normally if this site was not fake, for example, I would who is Yahoo, and I would get an actual email contact for someone like Yahoo Inc. Administrative contact, registered contact, technical contact. There's actual information that I have here, but for this TinderSafeDate.com for their name servers, I don't have anything for email. I do have the phone, but I don't have the email. So I can't complain to anybody that this site is complete BS. Now, why would they do that? So basically, long story short is I kind of gave up after 5 days with all this fake spam, scam, phishing bullcrap, including this other one from one of these girls that I swiped with here. I forget which one it was. Basically, she also responded immediately as well. And then we have this other scam for this phone number. And I don't know why, but which one of these girls was it? I forget. One of these girls actually responded immediately, and she just said something like, "Hey, I'm tired of using Tinder. Hit me up here." So I actually text the phone number because I was like, okay, well, hey, why not? Girl's going to give me your number. I'm not going to argue. Well, this one was a little bit more elaborate. It was a more of an intelligent response to the conversation, but it led down the path of no matter what I said after about 5 minutes into the conversation, she wanted me to go to this website for webcam. And she's like, "Oh my God, I love you so much. Please tip me. I'll make it up to you. You know, you can make it up to me in bed or whatever. Like the promise of sex if I go to this webcam site." I'm like, oh, okay, this is completely fake. Because she says she stripped on the site. I'm like, yeah, right. No girl's going to admit that out of the gate anyway. Not that I have anything against girls that do that, but even still, it was just completely fake. That's the point. I just knew it was fake. So it's this site. I could go to it right now, but I can't for the purposes of this video because I can't have an X-rated YouTube. They'll take it down. So you kind of get the gist of where this is going, right? So this it's like this site that you have 5 minutes to respond to the special invite code, and you're supposed to supposedly get to see this girl that's on the other end of this phone number. I did some research on this phone number, and outside of like a full in-depth investigation to a phone number, which I'll buy later on and just add the results to see if I get anything, but White Pages says no one's associated with this number. And I did a little bit of research on who the carrier was, and that makes sense because they're using this service called Aerial Link, which is basically a private cellular network service that gives you the same anonymity that the Privacy Guardian and Name Silo service did to the same effect for a phone number. So essentially, I can have the cell number and have it guarded against reverse phone lookups or caller ID. So it would kind of show up as an unknown number or a number that's not registered to anyone. So, right out the gate here, I can kind of already know for a fact that who's ever doing this is a scammer. It's not a mystery anymore. But I took it one step further. I'm like, okay, well, because I sent this email, I have it on the screen right here. I got an instantaneous denial. I had to actually call the number on the back of the American Express gift card I had and have this lady, very nice lady, was able to look up a number for the merchant, which was the Google 1-800 number, right? I'll have that in the comments and descriptions down here. One of the two numbers they gave me was actually Google Play Store, and it took the guy with a representative on the phone basically reminding him that I had a completely rational request for a refund. He submitted the request for the refund, and I got this. Bam, instantaneous denial. In fact, and I only even got the contact for the developer that I sent them this email here, bam, because it sure as hell wasn't on their site for contact us. If you click contact us on Tinder, doesn't matter what you do, you get one of these pre-canned, you don't even know where the email is going to. I'm not even sure if I can inspect the HTML code and see like what actual email address that it's sending to, other than the double click partners they have trying to make money off of you even submitting a contact us form. So that's really nice of Tinder. So I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to go to the BBB. So I went to the BBB. Now, here's the thing. It says Match.com, right? But I specifically looked up Tinder Inc. Now, Tinder Inc.'s headquarters, aka Match.com, or doing business as alternate names according to BBB, is in Dallas, Texas. Again, I go to this. This is definitely not related to Tinder whatsoever. This is a scam. That's how I was able to draw conclusively in my mind that this is complete bullshit. But now we get to the actual real facts outside of just independent research. So we have Better Business Bureau, which has a registry of all the business names if you're having difficulty finding contact information for them. All I get is Match.com. They have an F rating, 96% negative feedback reviews, 1,710 unresolved complaints against them, and another 3,011 complaints. They also operate as chemistry.com, delightful.com, singlesnet.com, match.com SN LLC, and Tinder Inc. So this is like a big conglomeration of Match.com. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, when did this happen? I was actually about to bail off of Tinder and open up a Match.com account. And I'm so glad I found this out, because it seems that their customer service and billing with Match.com have a lot of issues. So let's list our strikes so far, if you want to call them strikes. Number one, lack of support. The application doesn't work as intended, and I'm getting spammed to oblivion. Number two, the user friendliness of the website to actually get support is non-existent. Number three, there's absolutely no accreditation in the BBB for this dating service. And then I started looking at like, okay, what the hell is going on here? So I found something even more interesting, if this isn't already interesting enough. So we have this Maria Zhang. So who's Maria Zhang? So if I go back to Tinder and I go to their tech blog, Maria Zhang is, or Maria Zhang, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the VP of Engineering. And to me, this says that she's one of the top echelon lead roles that controls the development and direction of this application. So let's take a look at who she is. If I can get back to it. Here it is. Maria Zhang. 5 facts you need to know. So this is her. Oh no. Yahoo sex scandal. This isn't good. Allegedly, Maria Zhang tried to force one of her coworkers on top of Maria Zhang giving her negative performance reviews, tried to force her allegedly into oral sex with Nancy. Now, whether she did or didn't, I mean, I would have to say that things like this don't just this is so, to me, my opinion, but it's really unlikely for women to lie about sexual harassment from other women. I mean, I was kind of expecting that to be a guy. As bad as that sounds, but hey, in the dating world, this is just proof that sexual harassment doesn't just come from men, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Now we have now entered into the twilight zone. So I said to myself, okay, this is really interesting. So, oh, one more thing before we go any further, I want to show you guys this. You know that picture from Tinder, age verification? This photo isn't even real. It's from a bunch of porn sites. One of them was Argentina Juarez, Naughty Dump, whatboyswant.com. I'm not promoting these sites. I'm just kind of giving you guys the lowdown. What I found interesting with Ludi.net is it's just a form, but apparently it has some adult content on it. And if I plug this language into Google Translate, it's Persian. So this is obviously some sort of Middle Eastern form where this picture is found. So again, just kind of going back to the conclusive thing where this is fake. Now, the other thing where I was talking about that I found interesting was who Maria Zhang is and her history. Now, Maria Zhang, if I can get to it here, 1 second. All right, sorry about that, guys. I just had to backtrack just a little bit. So Maria Zhang used to be the senior director of engineering at Yahoo, and for some reason, she's not there anymore. The story is that she founded applications like Propelled, which was a mobile technology company in Seattle, and an application called Alike, which was acquired by Yahoo. Now, Alike is a mobile app, or it's an iPhone app actually, specifically for the iPhone, that provides information on nearby restaurants, bars, and cafes similar to what the user prefers. So I guess Foursquared, except on crack. I don't know. Anyways, so that's what I found about Tinder and who the founders were. And another interesting fun fact about Tinder is that the original founders don't work for Tinder anymore. They actually have moved on to a project called Bumble. And again, I'm not paid to promote any of this. Just to show you what Bumble is, which I think I'm going to try out instead of Tinder. Bumble. It's actually much like Tinder, except ladies make the first move. So when you match a girl, a girl can only initiate the conversation, so girls don't get spammed. But I hopefully it doesn't have the same holes as Tinder. That's neither here or there. Now, given all this information that I've just bombarded you with in this 20-minute video, I'm going to wrap this up here. Here's where I think that there's something else going on, because I have to look at it from the avenue of a scammer. Now, if I'm a scammer and I'm going to create websites like this, my goal is to get credit card numbers, right? Because, you know, it doesn't matter what I put in here. Well, I guess it does. So there is some intelligence to this right here. So whatever I put in here, basically what this site wants is my credit card number, assuming this site even works correctly, which it's a piece of junk right now, and that's to be expected. So I had to tell myself, okay, if I'm a scammer, what do I want? I want your name, address, I want your identity, and I want your credit card number. But how is it that this is so prevalent on Tinder? And this is where I arrived at the conclusion I'm going to give you in a few minutes. So a 6-month subscription for Tinder costs $74.99. Let's say I have 100 fake profiles, but that's just for one region. Even if somehow, and this is what I think they're doing, is they're using what's called an API, and I'll get to that in just a few minutes, application programmable interface. Let's say I've got 100 fake profiles for an entire 50 states. Okay, so that's $74.99 times 6 months, right? Times, oh, I'm sorry, $74, doing my math wrong here, times 100 fake profiles that I use worldwide. $7,499. All right. For 6-month cost of that, that's $44,994. Let's break that down monthly, divide by 6. So again, $7,499. So let's again go to the annual cost of this. a scammer is not going to invest this much money in operational expenditures on the gamble that they get one or two people every so often. And I find this highly suspicious because a person on Tinder, I'm trying to get myself in the mind of a scammer. A person on Tinder is here to meet people in real life, right? You can get porn anywhere for free. You can get you could go webcam with somebody on sites for free. So what? Why would you verify your age? So let's say 50 people fall prey to this and they get scammed out of 250, like 250 people get scammed out of $250, right? In in 1 month. That's $62,500 times 12 months. I just find it odd that a scammer would gamble almost $80,000 a year out of their money to make this much. And let's say they had to control it down by region. This is just the United States for 100 profiles per region. Let's just do this a little bit more realistically because Tinder is based on location. So let's say they know how to make profiles, but they don't know how to make those profiles universal for every region. So now we're back to $74.99 times 100 profiles. So let's just assume that they haven't figured out how to hack the location thing, but they do know how to use fake profiles. Then they wouldn't need any money, right? Because as I showed you before, it's cost. I mean, if they did this by credit card and sign up, this is not cost effective whatsoever. And this is my point. Let's just say that they had, let's say they had like 100 fake profiles for the United States, right? 100 fake profiles for every location in the United States. So that's 50 states. This becomes very, very not cost efficient. So this is what I think is going on. I think that they have been able to hack into Tinder's API. And what is that? It's an applicational programming interface. It's basically it's like an interface that I can use if I want to program a third-party app to automate the process of swiping Tinder or to swipe 9 or 10 or however many profiles at a time. There's like add-ons for Tinder that you can get. They all use API that send calls to the application to interface with it. And it does work. I mean, this guy basically broke it down. He's like, yeah, here's the address. But it's not public knowledge, and you kind of have to reverse engineer it. And I think there's people out there that do have that knowledge to do so, especially just finding out like where the calls are going to, and it's this address. So this is kind of publicly obtainable information that does exist. The API endpoint, the address of the API endpoint, and what you have to do to actually send commands out there. And there are third-party apps that Tinder doesn't support, like the mass swiper that can swipe like 10, 15, 20 profiles at a time just to, I guess, mathematically increase your odds of matching with someone, but you never even read their profile. So it also increases your odds of swiping with this bullshit. So I arrive at the conclusion that Tinder, they know about this, they don't care, and all they're in it in for is for the money. And this is basically no different than Mega You Know What book. If you've ever gone there, and I did it as a prank to a friend, it's basically a bunch of webcam models pretending to be real people to get you to pay for additional services on top of a monthly cost and to try to basically trap horny dudes into a major pitfall. And I honestly think that it's one man's opinion, but I honestly think that people like this. Number one, they're in it for the money. They don't care. Their character is already poor, as you can see here, and they just want money. And they either don't know or don't know how to fix something like this, which not many people are good programmers. There's a lot of crappy programmers, and this is just like with any profession. There's a lot of fakes out there, and I think this just happens to be, unfortunately, Tinder. It may have been a good thing, but it is completely overrun with scam and spams. And not only that, I did not realize, again, Match.com owns all of these guys. This is like 6 or 7 different sites that are all run by the same company, and I honestly doubt that it's any different over there as well. They probably have the same problems, a bunch of fake profiles trying to scam you for your credit card information. Absolutely unbelievable. I think I've rambled on enough here, but I've hoped this has served to be a bit of an eye-opening and not a complete trip down a rabbit hole, because we didn't really go through a bunch of speculations. I've proven that this is all fake and that this business has terrible reviews, and that who they've hired for their engineering for this application is probably not the best pick either and doesn't seem to have the right character. But we'll let the courts decide that as it pertains to Maria Zhang.